To claim. You may hear the nonsense.
May I start?
Nonsense!
No,
Let's go. Let me hear
Judge
it.
Judy,
30 seconds.
The courtroom exploded with tension the second the two cousins walked through the doors and stood before Judge Judy, transforming what looked like a small disagreement over a $205 plane ticket into one of the most chaotic family betrayals the courtroom had seen in years. The atmosphere immediately felt heavy, almost electric, as Charlene Jennings stood confidently at the plaintiff's table with frustration written across her face, while Khadija Royal appeared defensive, irritated, and emotionally exhausted before the hearing had even begun. Judge Judy, calm but intimidating as always, wasted no time getting straight to the point, asking Charlene to explain exactly why she believed her cousin owed her money. What followed sounded at first like an ordinary family dispute, but within minutes, the story spiraled into accusations of manipulation, unpaid debts, stolen belongings, and eventually shocking claims of identity theft that left the entire courtroom stunned. Charlene explained that everything began after Khadija took a trip to Las Vegas with another friend. But according to her, the trip turned disastrous after Khadija and the friend allegedly fell out with each other, leaving Khadija stranded without enough money to return home.
Charlene claimed she stepped in to save her cousin by paying over $205 for a plane ticket back home, trusting that the money would be repaid once the emergency was over. But according to Charlene, the repayment never happened. Instead, the situation only became uglier after Khadija allegedly failed to return dresses, shoes, hair extensions, and several personal belongings that Charlene had trusted her with. As Charlene tried listing every missing item, Judge Judy instantly shut the conversation down with one of her trademark lines, bluntly stating that she didn't go to law school for random stuff, causing laughter to ripple through the courtroom, while Khadija rolled her eyes in frustration. But despite the humor, there was a deeper bitterness underneath the argument that everyone in the room could feel. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about trust that had completely collapsed between family members who once depended on each other. Khadija quickly pushed back against Charlene's version of events, insisting that the plane ticket had already been paid back in full shortly after they returned from Las Vegas. According to her, Charlene had borrowed the money from her own brother to purchase the ticket, and once they landed back home, the two women supposedly stopped at an ATM, where Khadija withdrew the exact amount in cash and handed it over immediately. Judge Judy narrowed her eyes and asked the question that instantly shifted the tension inside the courtroom. Do you have proof? Suddenly, Khadijah's confidence appeared to weaken. She claimed the bank statement proving the withdrawal existed, but admitted she had accidentally left it upstairs. Judge Judy, sensing an opportunity to expose the truth, calmly told her to go retrieve it, while also warning that if the ATM statement truly showed the withdrawal around the same time as the plane ticket purchase, Charlene's entire claim could fall apart. The courtroom became noticeably quieter as Khadija rushed out to retrieve the evidence, and for a brief moment, even Charlene looked nervous. When Khadija finally returned carrying paperwork, she quickly pointed to a $205.80 transaction and insisted that it proved everything she had said. But Judge Judy immediately noticed inconsistencies. The dates didn't seem perfectly aligned, and Khadijah's explanations became more confusing the longer she talked. She rambled about sending photos of her credit card to Charlene, claiming Charlene usually handled all her online bookings and travel arrangements because she was better with transactions. But when Judge Judy asked basic questions about the exact dates of the Vegas trip, Khadija suddenly struggled to remember anything clearly. She stumbled through vague guesses, changing details mid-sentence while apologizing nervously for being bad with dates. At that moment, the energy inside the courtroom shifted dramatically. Judge Judy's expression changed from patient curiosity to visible skepticism, and the audience could sense that Khadijah's story was beginning to crumble under pressure. But just when it seemed the hearing couldn't become any more dramatic, Khadija launched a completely unexpected counterattack that instantly shocked everyone in the room.
Her voice became louder and more emotional as she accused Charlene of something far more serious than unpaid money or missing clothes. According to Khadija, Charlene had allegedly used her identity during a traffic stop, resulting in warrants being issued in Khadija's name. The entire courtroom froze. Even Charlene looked genuinely stunned by the accusation. What had started as a petty family disagreement suddenly transformed into a case involving alleged identity theft and fraudulent use of another person's name during police encounters. Judge Judy immediately focused in, cutting through the emotional chaos with surgical precision. She directly asked Charlene whether she had ever used Khadija's identification during a traffic stop. Charlene answered immediately and firmly, "I did not." But Khadija insisted she had evidence. Within seconds, papers began flying across the courtroom as Khadija handed over traffic citations, vehicle descriptions, and license plate information, while trying desperately to explain why she believed Charlene had falsely identified herself to police officers. Judge Judy repeatedly interrupted her, reminding her that she could not simply guess what happened during the traffic stop if she had not actually been there. Still, Khadija continued pushing forward emotionally, insisting this had happened multiple times before. Judge Judy studied the paperwork carefully before focusing on a black BMW mentioned in the documents. She asked Charlene whether the vehicle was hers. Charlene hesitated slightly, while Khadija immediately jumped in, insisting that it absolutely belonged to her cousin. But within moments, even this argument became chaotic and contradictory. The ticket described a 2005 BMW, while Charlene insisted her vehicle was a 2002 model. Then another car entered the discussion, a black Chevy, leading both women to scream over one another while trying to explain who drove what vehicle and when. The courtroom descended into total madness. Khadija sarcastically mocked Charlene's vehicle, loudly claiming the car was so unreliable that it needed a pipe just to start the engine and required 2 hands to turn the wheel around corners. The audience burst into laughter, while Charlene looked humiliated and furious. But beneath the comedy was years of resentment, jealousy, distrust, and family dysfunction boiling over in public view. Judge Judy sat silently through the chaos, allowing the cousins to expose themselves with every interruption and contradiction. By this point, it had become painfully obvious that neither woman truly trusted the other anymore, and both were more interested in embarrassing one another than proving facts. Finally, Judge Judy decided she had heard enough. With complete authority and visible annoyance, she shut the hearing down immediately. She informed the cousins that they clearly had each other's belongings and suggested they simply exchange them and move on with their lives. There would be no dramatic financial victory, no emotional redemption, no satisfying revenge. Just 2 family members publicly humiliating each other over years of unresolved bitterness. But even after Judge Judy dismissed the case, the fighting still didn't stop. As they walked away from the bench, both women continued hurling insults and accusations at one another, proving the real damage had nothing to do with a plane ticket or missing clothes at all. The courtroom officers eventually had to intervene, as the cousins continued arguing while leaving the courtroom. In the end, the case became a painful reminder of how quickly family relationships can collapse once trust disappears. What began as a simple disagreement over travel money turned into a humiliating public spectacle involving accusations of lies, theft, betrayal, fake identities, broken promises, and years of hidden resentment exploding in front of a national audience. And perhaps the most brutal realization of all was that long before either woman stepped into Judge Judy's courtroom, their relationship as family had already been destroyed beyond repair.